I was wrapping Christmas lights around my porch railing when my wife told me I was going to be a father again. Snow was falling soft through the streetlight glow. The pot roast I'd been smelling for the last hour had that good home-cooked warmth to it. 40 years we'd been married. 40 years of her cooking and me working, and both of us building something that felt permanent. "Bob," Linda called from inside. "Dinner's ready. Come in." I brushed the snow off my shoulders and stepped through the screen door. It creaked the way it always did. She was sitting at the kitchen table, hands folded, wearing a dress I'd never seen before, something expensive looking. "I have news," she said, smiling like she'd just won something. "You're going to be a father again." I sat down slow, fork halfway to the pot roast. "Strange," I said. "I haven't touched you in months. And there's that vasectomy from 2009. Her smile didn't move. "It's Marcus's baby. We're in love." The smoke alarm started screaming. The pot roast was burning. The alarm kept shrieking. Linda stood up, walked to the oven, pulled out the pot roast, black on top, ruined, and scraped the whole thing into the garbage. Didn't say a word, just scraped and dumped like she was cleaning out an ashtray. I sat there watching my hands. They were shaking. "When?" I asked. She shrugged. Actually shrugged. "June, does it matter?" "In 6 months." Half a year of her coming home smelling different, wearing clothes I never saw her buy, sleeping with her back to me. Half a year of me thinking we were just going through a quiet patch. Happens in marriages, I told myself. 40 years, you have seasons. "Who's Marcus?" "A financial advisor. He's 52, handles retirement planning." She said it like she was reading from a business card. "He's good to me, Bob. He listens." I looked up at her then, really looked. Her hair was different, darker, more red than I remembered. New perfume, something sharp and expensive, not the Avon she'd worn since the 80s. "We have a life," I said. 40 years. That has to mean something. She pulled an envelope from her purse, slid it across the table. Pre-printed, official looking. "Divorce papers. You'll be served formally next week, but I wanted you to know first. Professional courtesy." Professional courtesy. Like I was a client she was letting go. I didn't open the envelope. Couldn't. My fingers wouldn't work right. She picked up her purse. "I'm sleeping in the guest room. The pregnancy makes me nauseous. Don't disturb me." Then she walked upstairs. I heard the guest room door close. Lock click. I sat at that table until 2 in the morning. The burnt smell wouldn't leave. I kept thinking about things I should have said, ways I could have fought back, but nothing came. Just sat there staring at that envelope with my name typed on the front. Around 2 a.m., I got up, walked through the house, in the dark. Kitchen still smelled like failure. Living room had the Christmas tree half decorated. We'd planned to finish it together this weekend. Guest room door was shut, thin line of light underneath. I stood outside that door with my hand raised, ready to knock. Ready to say, "What? I love you? Please? We can fix this?" I heard her phone buzz inside. Heard her laugh. Soft and young-sounding, the way she used to laugh with me 30 years ago. "He knows now," she said through the door. Her voice was bright, happy. "It's done. See you tomorrow, baby." I lowered my hand. Walked back to our bedroom. My bedroom now, I guess. Picked up the wedding photo from the nightstand. June 12th, 1983. Both of us, 24 years old, standing in front of First Methodist, her in white and me in my Navy dress uniform. We looked like we thought we'd live forever. I set the photo face down. Didn't sleep. Just lay there watching the ceiling get lighter as dawn came. Heard Linda's shower running at 7. Heard her humming, while she got dressed. She came downstairs at 7:30, made coffee like it was any other Tuesday. I was still sitting at the table. Same spot. Hadn't moved. "Can we talk about this?" I asked. She poured her coffee. "Nothing to discuss. I've been unhappy for years, Bob. You just didn't notice." "I noticed we were getting older. I noticed things getting quieter, but I thought, you thought wrong." She took a sip. "Marcus and I close on our condo next month. 1 bedroom downtown. Nice view." Our condo. They already bought a place together. "What about the house? What about—" "The lawyer will handle it." She grabbed her keys. "I'm staying at a friend's tonight. Don't wait up." The screen door slammed behind her. I watched through the window as she got in her car, wearing that new dress, that new perfume, driving to see him, Marcus, the financial advisor who listened. I sat there until I had to leave for my shift at the hardware store. Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 9 to 3. Kept me busy in retirement, gave me something to do. I needed that routine right then. Needed to put my hands on something real. I walked out to my truck. Snow had covered the windshield overnight. I was scraping it off when I heard Hank's voice from next door. "You okay, Bob?" Hank Miller, 72, widower, retired postal worker, lived in the smaller house next to mine. "You look like hell." I forced something like a smile. "Fine, Hank. Just tired. His eyes narrowed. He was standing on his porch in his bathrobe, coffee in one hand, pipe in the other. Snow was falling between our yards. "That fancy Lexus was here again yesterday," he said. "License plate says WLTH4U. Saw it Tuesday morning too. And last Thursday." My hands stopped moving on the scraper. "None of my business," Hank said. "But I notice things. Comes from sorting mail for 40 years. He went back inside before I could answer. I got in my truck, turned the key. The engine coughed twice before it caught. Needed work I kept putting off. I pulled out into the street, windshield still half frosted, and drove to work with my hands shaking on the wheel. At the first red light, I pulled out my phone. Searched. Marcus Chin Financial Advisor. The results loaded. Professional headshot. 40-something, maybe 50. Fit. Expensive suit. Smiling like he'd never lost anything in his life. I stared at that picture until someone honked behind me. Light had turned green. I drove on, but something had changed. That numb shock from last night was burning off. Something else was rising underneath. Something that felt like the beginning of anger. I made it through my shift on autopilot, mixing paint, cutting keys, answering questions about furnace filters. The regular customers, people I'd known for years, they didn't notice anything wrong. I was good at that, keeping things normal on the surface while everything underneath was coming apart. By the time I got home at 3:30, I'd made a decision. I was going to fight for this. 40 years doesn't just end because someone gets bored. There had to be a way back. I called Pastor Jim at First Methodist, got his voicemail, left a message asking if we could talk. He called back 20 minutes later. "Bob," he said. His voice had that gentle warmth he used with everyone. "Of course. Come by Monday morning, say 9 o'clock. Monday felt like a long time to wait, but I agreed. The weekend was strange. Linda came home Saturday afternoon, grabbed some clothes, left again. Didn't say where she was going. Sunday I went to church alone. Sat in our pew, third row from the front, right side. Same spot for 40 years. People stared. Alice Morrison, the church secretary, whispered something to the woman next to her. Both of them looked at me with that particular expression, pity mixed with something else. Judgment, maybe. I left during the final hymn. Monday morning I was at Pastor Jim's office at 8:45. He let me in right at 9, sat behind his desk with his well-worn Bible open in front of him. I told him everything. The pregnancy, the vasectomy, Marcus, the condo they'd already bought. Pastor Jim listened, his fingers steepled under his chin. When I finished, he leaned back. "Marriage is under attack in our culture, Bob. The enemy wants to destroy what God has joined together." And he spoke slowly, like he was working through a sermon. "Fighting this publicly will damage the church's witness." "She stole from me," I said. "From our accounts. And I understand your anger. Believe me, I do." He opened his Bible to a marked page. "But Ephesians tells us to let all bitterness and wrath and anger be put away from you. Linda's soul is at stake here. Public conflict will only drive her further from God." I felt something tighten in my chest. What about my soul? What about justice? "Vengeance is the Lord's, Bob. Your job is to forgive, to pray, to release her to God's judgment." He smiled, kind but firm. "I'd like to suggest marriage counseling. I know an excellent therapist, Dr. Stevens. She's helped several couples in our congregation." Boy, he wrote down a name and number on a sticky note, pushed it across the desk. I took it, stared at the name. "And if counseling doesn't work, then you'll know you tried everything. You'll have peace knowing you honored your vows, even if she didn't." He stood, came around the desk, put his hand on my shoulder. "Let's pray about this." And I didn't want to pray. I wanted him to say Linda was wrong, that what she was doing was theft and adultery and cruelty. I wanted someone in authority to take my side, but I bowed my head while he prayed, asked God to soften my heart, to help me see Linda with compassion, to give me strength to forgive. When he finished, I thanked him and left. Walked past Alice in the hallway. She was talking to another secretary, but I heard her voice carry. "Bless his heart. Pride's such a sin, isn't it?" I kept walking. That night I called the number Pastor Jim gave me. "Doctor." Stevens' receptionist scheduled us for Saturday at 10 a.m. I texted Linda, "Will you try counseling with me?" The response took 20 minutes. "Fine, but only twice. If it doesn't work, you sign the papers." 2 sessions. That's all I got. Saturday came. Linda showed up 5 minutes late, wearing sunglasses even though it was overcast. We sat in Dr. Stevens' office, beige walls, tissue box on the table between us, the kind of generic calm that's supposed to make people feel safe. Stevens asked us each to share our perspective. I went first, tried to explain the 40 years, the blindsiding, how I didn't understand what went wrong. My voice cracked twice. I didn't try to hide it. Then Linda spoke. "I've been lonely," she said. Tears started almost immediately. Perfect timing. "For years, Jim, you work all the time. You never ask how I'm feeling. Marcus. She caught herself, wiped her eyes. Marcus paid attention to me, made me feel seen. I made a terrible mistake. Dr. Stevens leaned forward. Linda, are you saying you want to end the affair? Yes. Linda looked at me. Her eyes were red. If Bob will work on being more emotionally available, if we can both try. Something surged in my chest. Hope. Stupid, desperate hope. I'll try, I said. I'll do whatever it takes. Stevens scheduled another session for the following Saturday. We left separately. Linda said she needed space, just for a few more days, but I felt lighter than I had in weeks. I stopped at the florist on the way home, bought yellow roses, her favorite. When I got to the house, her car was gone. I put the roses in a vase on the kitchen table, wrote a note. Thank you for trying. B. My phone buzzed. Text from Hank. Need to talk. Tonight. Important. I texted back. Tomorrow, okay? Had a good day. Want to sit with it? Hank responded immediately. Tomorrow then. But Bob, don't get your hopes up. I deleted the message. Didn't want that kind of thinking right now. I went to bed early. Actually slept. First real sleep in a week. Sunday morning, the roses were still there, untouched. Linda's car pulled in around noon. I heard her come in, walk past the kitchen without stopping, go upstairs to the guest room. The door locked. I walked into the kitchen. The roses were wilting already. My note was still there, unread. My phone buzzed. Hank again. Coming over? Now. Before I could respond, I heard his boots on my porch. Saw him through the window carrying 2 beers in a manila envelope. I opened the door. Sit down, he said. His voice was different, harder. You're going to want to sit down for this. He pushed past me, set the beers on the table, held up the envelope. I'm sorry, Bob, but you need to see this. My hands were shaking when I took it. Inside, bank statements. 6 months worth, April through September. Each one showed transfers I'd never authorized. $8,000, $9,000, $12,000, $7,000, $5,000, $6,000. All to an account labeled Joint MCLH. Marcus Chen and Linda Hutchins, $47,000. Gone. The roses blurred in front of me. I couldn't breathe right. There's more, Hank said quietly. He pulled out another paper. This was blowing across both our lawns yesterday. Mail truck must have dropped it. A refinance application for my house. The one I'd just paid off 3 years ago. New mortgage. $200,000. I never signed anything, never authorized anything. Bob, Hank said, I think you need to check your accounts. All of them. I pulled out my phone, opened my bank app, tried to log in. Incorrect password, tried again. Incorrect password, tried the savings account. Incorrect password, tried the retirement account. Incorrect password. She'd locked me out of everything. I stood up so fast the chair fell backward, made it to the sink before I threw up. Nothing in my stomach but coffee and bile, but my body kept heaving anyway. Hank's hand was on my shoulder. Easy, easy, now. When I could breathe again, I turned around. He was holding his phone. I already called Tom Reeves at the bank, Hank said. He says come in tomorrow morning, first thing. He'll help however he can. I nodded, couldn't speak. Hank picked up his beer, cracked it open, handed it to me. Drink, then we're going to figure this out. When I took a sip, it tasted like nothing. Upstairs, I heard Linda's shower running, heard her humming again. Hank heard it too, his jaw tightened. That counseling session, he said. When was it? Yesterday, she cried. Said she'd end it with Marcus, said she wanted to try. Hank's expression didn't change. Bob, that Lexus was in your driveway yesterday afternoon. I got pictures. Time stamped 2:15 to 4:30 p.m. 2 hours after our counseling session ended. The hope I'd been holding on to, that fragile, stupid hope, cracked clean through. She played you, Hank said. And I'm sorry, but you need to know. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Dad? Sarah, my daughter. I hadn't heard her voice in 3 years. Not since she'd divorced, and I told her she was giving up too easy, that marriage takes work. She'd hung up on me, never called back. Sarah, I said. My voice sounded hollow. We need to talk about my college fund. Her voice was cold, sharp. Did you take money from it? My legs went weak. I sat back down. What? No. Sarah, I would never. It's empty, Dad. $30,000. Gone. You're the trustee. A pause. Mom called me yesterday. She said you've been acting paranoid, forgetting things. She thinks you might be declining, that you might need help. Declining. Dementia. She'd already started building that story. Sarah, listen to me. I'm at the Hampton Inn on Route 40, room 237. I flew in last night because Mom said you needed me. But if you stole from me, I didn't steal anything. My voice cracked. Sarah, please, your mother is lying. She's the one who... You sound exactly like she said you would. Defensive, confused, angry. Her voice got quieter. Dad, maybe you should see someone. Get checked out. Sarah. The line went dead. I sat there staring at my phone. Hank was watching me, his face grim. My daughter, I said. She thinks I'm crazy. Linda told her I'm losing my mind. Hank set down his beer, reached into his jacket, pulled out another envelope. This one was thicker. Then we prove you ain't, he said. I got something else to show you. The second envelope was marked Marcus Chin Pattern in Hank's shaky handwriting. He spread the contents across my kitchen table. Printed news articles, legal settlement records, screenshots from LinkedIn. Took me 3 days at the library, Hank said. My nephew works in legal records down in Columbus. He helped me pull some of this. The first document was a settlement agreement from 2019. Gerald Hofstadter, age 72, widower from Columbus. His wife had died of cancer. 6 months later, he'd met someone, a woman named Patricia, 58. She'd introduced him to her financial advisor, Marcus Chen. Within a year, Gerald's estate was drained, $180,000 gone. Forged documents, joint accounts Gerald never authorized. He'd sued, settled quietly for $30,000 just to end it. The second was from 2021. David Kemp, 58, Toledo, divorced after 30 years, lonely, met a woman at a church singles group. She'd brought her retirement planner to help David organize his finances after the divorce. Same pattern. Forged power of attorney, systematic transfers, $85,000 gone. Settled for $85,000 to avoid a public trial. Marcus targets lonely older men through their women, Hank said. It's not passion, it's not love. It's his business model. I stared at the documents. My hands had stopped shaking. Something colder was settling in. How did you find this? The library's got computers. I started searching his name, found his company website. Retirement planning for mature women, and that phrase stuck out. So I dug deeper, found these cases buried in civil court records. Hank tapped the papers. Both men were too ashamed to make it public. Just took the settlement and tried to move on. I picked up Marcus's LinkedIn profile, professional photo, smooth smile. Under About, specializing in financial transitions for women entering their golden years. Compassionate guidance during life's difficult changes. Compassionate guidance. He made it sound like charity work. There's one more thing, Hank said. He pulled out a final page. Tom called me this morning, before I came over. It was a printed email from the IRS. Subject line, investigation, Chen Financial Services. Tom's got a contact who works federal cases, Hank explained. Marcus's firm is under investigation. Elder Fraud Unit. They've been building a case for months. How long before they move? Could be 6 months. Could be 2 years. Feds move slow. Hank met my eyes. You don't have that kind of time. She's trying to have you declared incompetent, Bob. Once she gets medical power of attorney, it's over. I stood up, grabbed my truck keys. Where are you going? The bank. I need to see Tom. Bob, it's Sunday. Bank's closed. I looked at the clock. 3:30 p.m. He was right. Tomorrow, then. First thing. Hank gathered up his papers, put them back in the envelope. Keep this. Make copies. You're going to need it. After he left, I sat at that table until dark. Didn't turn on the lights. Just sat there reading through those documents again and again. Gerald Hofstadter, David Kemp, now me. How many others were there? How many men had Marcus done this to? I heard Linda come downstairs around 7. She walked into the kitchen, flipped on the light, jumped when she saw me sitting there in the dark. Jesus, Bob, you scared me. I didn't say anything, just looked at her, really looked. The new clothes, the new hair, the belly just starting to show. I'm going out, she said. Don't wait up. Where? A friend's. She grabbed her purse. I'll be back tomorrow to get more things. She left. I heard the screen door slam, watched her car pull away through the window. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Mr. Hutchins, this is Dr. Stevens' office. Your wife has canceled next Saturday's appointment. She indicated that 2 sessions fulfilled her commitment. If you'd like individual counseling, please call to schedule. I read it 3 times. She'd specified 2 sessions from the start, just enough to look like she'd tried, just enough to tell a lawyer she'd made an effort. I called the number back, got voicemail, left a message. This is Bob Hutchins. I need to know when my wife scheduled our first session. What did she write on the intake form? The receptionist called back 10 minutes later. She sounded uncomfortable. Mr. Hutchins, I'm not supposed to share intake information, but Dr. Stevens said under the circumstances, the pause, Your wife's form said she needed 2 sessions for appearance of reconciliation for legal documentation purposes. I thanked her and hung up. Legal documentation, evidence she'd tried. Evidence I was unreasonable when I refused to forgive her. Every move planned, every word calculated. I tried to log into our bank accounts again. Still locked out. Tried the credit cards. Locked out. Tried the investment account. Locked out. She'd changed every password. Cut me off from everything I'd spent 40 years building. Monday morning, I was at First National Bank when the doors opened at 9. Tom Reeves was waiting for me. He led me to his office, closed the door, pulled the blinds. Bob, I can't tell you anything officially. Banking regulations. He sat behind his desk, fingers drumming. But I'm going to go to the printer. If you needed documentation to dispute a transaction, you'd need to see certain records. He stood up, left his office door open, walked to the copy room down the hall. On his desk, arranged like a presentation, were 3 documents, power of attorney, signed Robert Hutchins in handwriting that wasn't mine, dated October 14th. The day I'd gone fishing with my brother Mike. Linda had said she needed my signature for Medicare paperwork. I'd signed something in a hurry, wanting to get on the road. Refinance application, my house, appraised at $340,000. New mortgage for $200,000. Application dated November 1st, wire transfer authorizations, 6 of them. Moving money from our retirement accounts to the joint account with Marcus. All signed with my forged signature. I took photos with my phone. Every page, every signature. Tom came back, glanced at his desk, saw the papers had been moved slightly. Find what you needed? Yeah. My voice sounded strange, flat. Bob, that power of attorney, if you didn't sign it, that's forgery. You should file a police report today. Will that freeze the accounts? Should. Might take a few days to process, but it'll stop any new transfers. He pulled a business card from his drawer, wrote a number on the back in pen. My cell, call me tonight, off the record. I took the card, started to leave. Bob, Tom said. My father got swindled by his caretaker back in 2008. Woman had power of attorney, drained everything. We lost the farm. His jaw tightened. Dad was too ashamed to fight, died 2 years later, broken. I won't watch that happen to someone I know. I shook his hand, walked out of the bank. Sat in my truck in the parking lot, staring at the photos on my phone. $47,000, $200,000 mortgage. Forged signatures. My phone rang, Sarah's number. I answered. Sarah? Dad. Her voice was different now, shaky. I checked my college fund independently. You're right. The wire transfer went to an account with Mom's name and someone named Marcus Chen. I called Mom to ask about it. She said he's investing it for my future. Sarah, I asked why my name isn't on the account. She hung up on me. A pause. Then I checked her emails. I still have the password from when I helped her set up her phone last year. What did you find? Everything. Her voice broke. Emails to Marcus from June. Bob's too trusting. Won't know until it's too late. Sarah will side with me if I frame it as his confusion. Dad, she's been planning this for months. She used me. I closed my eyes. Where are you? Still at the Hampton, room 237. She was crying now. I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. I should have called you back after my divorce. I believed her version of everything. You're here now, I said. That's what matters. Can you come over? I have more to show you. A lot more. I started the truck. On my way. But before I could pull out, I saw it. Marcus's Lexus. Pulling into the bank parking lot. License plate WLTH4U. Catching the morning sun. He got out. Expensive suit. Perfect hair. Carrying a briefcase like he owned the world. He saw my truck. Saw me watching him. And he smiled. Walked right over to my driver's side window. I rolled it down. Mistake. But I couldn't help myself. He leaned in, hand on my door. Bob Hutchins, right? Linda's told me so much about you. Extended his hand. Mockery dressed as courtesy. I stared at that hand. Didn't take it. He laughed. Smart. Wouldn't want you claiming I assaulted you or something. He straightened. Listen, no hard feelings, okay? These things happen. People grow apart. You forged my signature, I said. Stole my retirement? Prove it. His smile never moved. Oh, wait, you can't. Because Linda had legal power of attorney. Everything's documented. Clean as a whistle. He tapped my truck roof twice. Enjoy the hardware store, old man. Linda and I close on our place next week. She's already picking out curtains. Maybe we'll stop by your store for some. He walked away, got back in his Lexus, drove off. I sat there gripping the steering wheel. My foot was on the brake, every muscle in my body screaming to chase him, to do something. Instead, I took 3 deep breaths, started driving to the Hampton Inn. My phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. Dad, one more thing. I have a friend who works at the hospital. Got mom's records. Pregnancy's real, 18 weeks, due April 12th. I stared at the text, so it wasn't a lie. The baby was real. Second text. But I found something else. Come quick, you need to see this. I pressed the gas harder. Sarah opened the hotel room door before I could knock. Her eyes were red, laptop open on the bed, papers spread everywhere. She looked like me, same eyes, same way of standing when the world wasn't making sense. Come in, she said. I stepped into the room. It smelled like burnt coffee and anxiety. She'd been here all night, from the looks of it. I'm sorry, I said, for what I said about your divorce. You were right to leave him. Dad, don't. She shook her head. I'm the one who's sorry. I believed Mom's story without even checking. Her voice caught. She said you were forgetting things, getting paranoid. I flew out here thinking I'd need to help her get you into assisted living. The words hit like a punch. Assisted living? She nodded, picked up a notebook. Her handwriting covered the pages. She sent me articles about early onset dementia, said you'd accused her of having an affair, when really you were just confused that you'd been withdrawing money and forgetting you'd done it. Sarah looked up. She asked me to help get you assessed, medical power of attorney, for your own protection. I sat down heavy on the edge of the bed. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. Once she had medical POA, Sarah continued, she could have you declared incompetent. Take everything legally. You'd be in a facility and she'd have full control of your assets. Jesus Christ. I almost did it. Sarah's voice broke. I almost helped her put you away. I had the forms printed. They're in my suitcase. We sat there in silence. The heater rattled in the corner. What changed your mind? I asked. The college fund. She said you'd taken it for expenses. But I work in IT security, Dad. I know how to trace digital transactions. She turned her laptop around. Wire transfer records filled the screen. October 18th. $30,000 from my fund to a joint account. M. Chen and L. Hutchins. Not your name, hers. I looked at the dates. October 18th, same day as the power of attorney forgery. Sarah clicked to another screen. Email exchanges between Linda and Marcus. Read this one, she said, pointing. From Linda Hutchins to Marcus Chen, June 14th. Subject, next steps. Bob signed the Medicare forms without reading them. Exactly like you said he would. He trusts me completely. Sarah's the only wild card, but I've been laying groundwork with her for months. She already thinks he was a distant father. Easy to build on that. My stomach turned. Sarah clicked to another email. From Marcus Chen to Linda Hutchins, September 3rd, subject, timeline. Everything's on schedule. Retirement accounts clear by October, refinance by November, file by December. By New Year, you'll be free and we'll be set. The old man won't know what hit him. They never do. There are 37 emails like this, Sarah said. Going back to May, before the affair even started, she was planning this with him. It was never about love. It was a con from day one. She pulled up another document. And this is Marcus's company website. Look at the testimonials. I leaned closer. 3 women, all middle-aged, all smiling. Marcus helped me navigate my divorce with dignity. After my husband passed, Marcus guided me through the financial complexity. Finally, someone who understands what women need. Those are the accomplices, Sarah said. The women he uses to get close to the targets. I found Patricia, the one from 2019, with Gerald Hofstadter. She's on his payroll. Client relations specialist. It's a hunting operation, Dad. They find vulnerable men and clean them out. I couldn't speak, couldn't process it all. Sarah closed the laptop, looked at me with something like grief. Mom weaponized me against you. My whole life. She told me you worked too much, cared too much about your job, never had time for us. I believed her. When I got divorced and you said I was giving up too easy, I thought... She stopped, swallowed. I thought you were being a hypocrite. Never there for your own family, but lecturing me about commitment. So I cut you off. Sarah. But I was wrong. I read through old emails, checked our bank records from when I was a kid. You worked overtime to pay for my college fund. Every extra shift, every weekend, it went into that account. Tears were running down her face now. And she stole it. She stole everything you worked for. And she tried to turn me into the weapon that destroyed you. I reached for her hand. She grabbed it like she was drowning. I called her this morning, Sarah said. Told her I traced the money. Asked her to explain. She said Marcus was investing it for my future, that I should trust her. I said, then put my name on the account. She hung up on me. She pulled out her phone, opened her photos. Then I went to the hospital. I have a friend who works in records. Bribed her with $100 and a promise I'd never tell. Got Mom's prenatal records. She showed me the screen. Ultrasound images, medical notes, Pregnancy confirmed, 18 weeks. Due April 12, father listed Marcus Chen. Sarah's voice was cold. So that part's real? She's really having his baby. I stared at the ultrasound. Some other man's child growing in my wife's body. But here's what's weird, Sarah continued. She scrolled to another document. Her first prenatal visit was July 2nd. That's 3 weeks after she claims the affair started. Most women don't go to the doctor until they're 6 to 8 weeks along, which means she got pregnant in late May or early June. What does that mean? It means the timeline's tight. Like, suspiciously tight. Almost like it was planned. Sarah met my eyes. I think she got pregnant on purpose, to lock Marcus in, to make it real. The room felt too small suddenly, too hot. There's one more thing, Sarah said quietly. She pulled out a printed calendar. Mom's phone syncs to a Google Calendar. I still have access from when I helped her set it up. Look at this. She pointed to dates marked in red. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning. MC appointment. That's Marcus Chen. Those are the days you work at the hardware store. Hank's surveillance log. Tuesday and Thursday mornings. The Lexus in my driveway. She timed it, I said. She knew my schedule. Every move calculated. Sarah closed the calendar. Dad, this wasn't a midlife crisis. This wasn't even just greed. This was a professional operation, and we were both marks. My phone buzzed. Text from Tom Reeves. Bob, call me. Important. Don't do anything until we talk. I showed Sarah the text. She read it, then looked at me. Who's Tom? Bank manager. He's been helping. His father got scammed the same way. Call him back. Use my phone. Your line might be monitored. And I stared at her. Monitored? If Marcus is this organized, he'd want to know what you're doing. Wouldn't surprise me if Mom cloned your phone data. She handed me her cell. Use this. I dialed Tom's number. He picked up on the first ring. Bob? It's me. I'm on my daughter's phone. Good. Listen, I need you to come to my house tonight. 8 o'clock. Bring Sarah if she's still in town. Hank too. He paused. The IRS investigation, my contact gave me more details. We need to coordinate. And Bob? Yeah? File that police report today, right now. Detective Morrison's on duty. I already called her. She's expecting you. I looked at Sarah. She was watching me with her mother's intelligence and my stubbornness. Okay, I said. We'll be there. After I hung up, Sarah started packing up her laptop. Where are you going? I asked. Police station with you, then wherever you need me. She zipped her bag. I'm not leaving you to fight this alone. I already did that once. Sarah, your job is remote. I can work from anywhere. She slung the laptop bag over her shoulder. I'm staying at your place. Guest room, the one Mom's been using. You don't have to. Yeah, I do. Her voice was firm. She used me to hurt you. Now I'm going to help you take her down. We drove to the police station in my truck. On the way, I told her about Hank's evidence, about Gerald Hofstadter and David Kemp, about Marcus's pattern. By the time we pulled into the station parking lot, Sarah's jaw was set. We're going to bury him, she said. Detective Morrison took our statements. Professional, efficient. She warned me that he said, she said cases were difficult, but the forged documents and pattern evidence made it stronger. File a protection order, too, she advised. Prevent any new transactions until this is sorted. We left the station at 5:30, drove home through rush hour traffic. When we pulled into my driveway, Linda's car was gone. The house was dark. Sarah walked in like she'd never left, dropped her bag in the guest room, started making coffee in the kitchen. I stood in the doorway watching her, my daughter. Back home after 3 years. You make it like your mother used to, I said. Before she switched to that fancy stuff, Sarah looked at the percolator, smiled sadly. You taught me, remember? Summer before college. You said if I was going to make it on my own, I needed to know how to make decent coffee. I'd forgotten that. But now it came back. Early morning, in this same kitchen. Sarah, 16 years old, watching me measure grounds into the basket. The percolator started its familiar rhythm. That sound had been absent for 3 years. Felt like something coming back to life. Sarah poured 2 mugs, handed me one. We're going to get through this, she said. My phone buzzed. Text from Hank. See you at Tom's. Got more to show you. You ain't gonna like it. I showed Sarah. She read it, then looked at the clock. We've got 2 hours. You should eat something. I'm not hungry. Eat anyway. Long night ahead. And she opened my refrigerator, pulled out eggs and bread, started cooking without asking, just like she used to when she lived here. I sat at the kitchen table. The same table where Linda had told me about the baby, where Hank had spread out his evidence, where 40 years of marriage had ended and something new was starting. Sarah set a plate in front of me. Scrambled eggs and toast. Simple. Real. Thank you, I said. She sat across from me. We're family. That's what we do. For the first time in 2 weeks, I felt something other than anger or fear or despair. I felt like I might actually survive this. Tom Reeves lived in a modest ranch house on the east side of town. His wife answered the door, smiled politely, said the kids were already in bed. She led us to the kitchen, where Tom and Hank were waiting, documents spread across the table like battle plans. Tom stood when we entered. Sarah, I'm Tom. Your dad and I go back 20 years. They shook hands. Sarah's grip was firm, professional. Hank Miller, Hank said, nodding to her. Live next door to your old man. Thank you, Sarah said. Both of you, for helping him. Tom gestured to the chairs. Sit, we've got a lot to go through. He laid out new documents, banking code violations, transfer patterns just under federal reporting thresholds. $9,900, repeated multiple times. A technique called structuring, designed to avoid triggering automatic fraud alerts. Marcus knows the system, Tom explained. He stays just under the radar. But when you add it all up, he tapped a spreadsheet. It's massive and illegal. The IRS knows, I asked. They're building a case. My contact says they've identified at least 6 victims over the past 5 years. Your case and the 2 Hank found, plus 3 more they uncovered independently. Tom pulled out another sheet. Total damages estimated at over $700,000. Sarah whistled low. How is he not in prison already? Slow process. Federal cases take time. They want airtight evidence. Tom leaned back. Problem is they're looking at tax fraud and financial crimes. Elder abuse charges are harder to prove because most victims settle quietly, too ashamed to go public. Like my dad almost was, Sarah said. Exactly. Tom looked at me. That's why what you did today matters. Filing that police report, getting it on record, it helps the federal case. Hank pushed a folder towards Sarah. This is what I wanted to show you both. I made some calls today. Got in touch with Gerald Hofstadter. The widower from Columbus? Sarah asked. That's him. 74 now, lives alone. His kids don't talk to him anymore. They think he was stupid for losing their inheritance. Hank's voice was tight. I told him about Bob. He cried on the phone. Said he thought he was the only one dumb enough to fall for it. I felt something twist in my chest. He's not dumb. I know that, you know that, but society doesn't see it that way. Old man loses his money to a younger guy? Must have been senile. Must have been incompetent. Hank met my eyes. That's why they settle. Can't face the shame. Sarah was reading through Hofstadter's statement. He's willing to testify? If it goes to trial, yes. So is David Kemp from Toledo. Hank pulled out another document. And I found a third. Woman named Judith Morales. She didn't lose money, but Marcus tried. Targeted her through her sister last year. She got suspicious. Kicked him out before he could drain anything. She'll testify too? I asked. She's eager. Said she felt guilty for not reporting it at the time. Thought nobody would believe her. Tom pulled out his phone. Scrolled through emails. Here's what my IRS contact sent me this afternoon. Marcus Chen's firm is under audit. They found discrepancies in client accounts going back 7 years. Funds transferred to offshore accounts, shell companies, the whole 9 yards. He looked up. This isn't just a con, it's organized fraud. How long until they move? Sarah asked. Could be 6 months, could be 18. Federal wheels turn slow. We don't have 18 months, I said. Linda's trying to refinance my house. Get me declared incompetent. If she succeeds, she won't, Sarah cut in. Not if we move faster. Tom nodded. That's why I asked you here. We need to coordinate. The police report buys us time. It'll freeze new transactions, but we need to go on offense. What are you thinking? Hank asked. Sarah leaned forward. We make this public. Blow up Marcus's reputation before he can disappear the money offshore. How? I asked. She looked at me. When does this town gather all in one place, where everyone would see it? I thought about it. Church. Sunday service. How many people? Depends. Regular Sunday, maybe 150. But Christmas Eve? I did the math in my head. 300, maybe more. Whole town shows up. When's Christmas Eve? This Sunday, 4 days from now. Sarah looked at Tom and Hank. Is that enough time? Tom was quiet for a moment. Then, I can get the bank records certified by Friday. Official copies, not the ones I accidentally left out. I can get Hofstadter and Kemp on standby, Hank added. Affidavits ready if we need them. And Sarah turned to me. Can you do it? Stand up in front of everyone and tell them what happened? The thought made my stomach turn. Every eye on me, every whisper, the pity, the judgment. But I thought about Gerald Hofstadter crying on the phone, about David Kemp settling quietly just to make it stop, about how many other men Marcus had destroyed. Yeah, I said, I can do it. Tom's expression was serious. Bob, you need to understand what you're risking. If this goes wrong, if the evidence doesn't hold up, you'll look like a vindictive ex-husband. The town will side with Linda. You could lose everything, including your reputation. I've already lost everything that mattered, I said. All I've got left is the truth. Hank grinned. That's the spirit. Sarah pulled out her laptop. Let's get to work. I'll compile the digital evidence. Tom, you coordinate with the police and get those documents certified. Hank, you work on witness statements. Dad. She looked at me. You need to write down what you're going to say. Keep it factual, no emotion, just facts. We worked until midnight. Sarah typing furiously, cross-referencing wire transfers with dates and amounts. Tom on his phone with contacts, building the legal framework. Hank drafting timelines, making sure every piece of evidence connected. I sat with a yellow legal pad, writing and rewriting what I'd say. Every time I started getting angry, Sarah would tap the table. Facts, Dad. Just facts. Let the documents do the talking. By the time we finished, we had a strategy, a timeline, a plan. Tom walked us to the door. Bob, one more thing. Marcus is going to figure out something's happening. He's smart. He'll see the police report, know you're fighting back. He might try to intimidate you. Let him try, I said. Just be careful. Don't engage with him. Don't give him ammunition. We drove home, Sarah following in her rental car. When we pulled into my driveway, I saw it. Marcus's Lexus, parked at the curb, engine running. He was sitting in his driver's seat, phone to his ear, watching my house. Sarah pulled in behind me, saw the Lexus. Her jaw tightened. Stay in the car, I said. I got out, walked toward the Lexus. Marcus rolled down his window, smiled. Evening, Bob. Just dropping Linda off. She needed to grab some things. Get off my property. Public street. He gestured around. I can park wherever I want. Through my front window, I saw Linda moving inside. Packing boxes visible. This harassment? Marcus asked, amused. That police report you filed today? Cute. But you can't prove I forged anything. Linda had legal authority. Everything's documented. I didn't rise to it. Just stared at him. His smile faded slightly. You're making this harder than it needs to be, old man. Just sign the papers. Walk away with some dignity while you still can. Sarah appeared at my side. He said leave, so leave. Marcus looked at her. You must be Sarah. Your mom's told me about you. Shame you're wasting your time on this. He's gonna lose. We'll see, Sarah said. Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then back at us. See you Sunday, Bob. Church, right? Linda said you never miss. Maybe we'll join you. Show our faces as a couple. Let people see how happy she is. He rolled up his window, drove away. Linda came out of the house carrying 2 boxes. Saw us standing there, stopped. I'm just getting my things, she said. Fine, I said. Get them and go. She loaded the boxes into her car, came back for more. On her 3rd trip, she paused at the door. Bob, this doesn't have to be ugly. Just sign the papers. We can both move on. No, I said. She looked at Sarah. Are you going to let him destroy himself like this? I'm going to help him destroy you, Sarah said. Linda's face hardened. She went inside, grabbed her last box, left without another word. After her taillights disappeared, Sarah put her hand on my shoulder. 4 days, she said. We've got 4 days to get ready. I nodded. Then let's make them count. The process server walked into the hardware store Saturday morning while I was helping Mrs. Henderson pick out paint colors for her bathroom. Robert Hutchins? He asked. Young guy, maybe 25. Professional. Didn't care that the store was packed with weekend DIYers. That's me. He handed me a manila envelope. You've been served. Then he turned and walked out. The store went quiet. Mrs. Henderson stared. Danny, my coworker at the next register, stopped mid-transaction. 10, maybe 15 customers, all watching. I opened the envelope. Right there. Couldn't help myself. Divorce petition, 47 pages. I skimmed the demands. Marital home, 50% of pension, $2,400, monthly spousal support. The grounds listed irreconcilable differences in respondents' financial mismanagement. Financial mismanagement. She was accusing me. My vision tunneled. The paint chips in Mrs. Henderson's hand blurred. Bob? Danny's voice sounded far away. You okay? I looked up. Everyone was still staring. Take your break, the manager said from across the store. His voice was gentle, pitying. Go on. I walked to the break room, sat down at the metal table. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. My hands were shaking too hard to hold the papers steady. My phone buzzed. Voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. I played it. Mr. Hutchins, this is Janet Kowalski from the Public Defender's Office. I've been assigned your divorce case. I reviewed the petition. My advice is to settle. At your age, contested divorces rarely favor the husband, especially when the wife can demonstrate financial need. Call me Monday to discuss settlement terms. I deleted it, sat there until my shift ended at 3, drove home on autopilot. At home, I found Sarah making phone calls in the kitchen. She looked up when I walked in, saw my face. What happened? I handed her the petition. She read through it, her expression darkening. This is bullshit. Financial mismanagement? She's the one who stole everything. My lawyer says settle. To fire her. It's a public defender. Can't afford anyone else. I sat down heavy. Sarah, maybe they're right. Maybe at my age. Stop. Sarah's voice was sharp. Don't you dare. We've got evidence. We've got witnesses. We've got a plan. What if it's not enough? She didn't answer right away. Just looked at me with something like fear. My phone rang. Pastor Jim. I almost didn't answer. But habit's a strong thing. 40 years of respecting that man's calls. Bob, he said when I picked up, can you come by the church? I think we need to talk. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in his office again. Same desk, same worn Bible. But this time his expression was different. Troubled. Bob, I've been hearing things about what you're planning for Christmas Eve. My stomach dropped. Who told you? Alice overheard something. She mentioned it to me this morning. He leaned forward. Bob, I can't allow you to disrupt the service. It's the most important gathering of our year. Families come who only attend once or twice. If you turn it into a spectacle, she stole from me. She forged my signature. She tried to have me declared incompetent. And I believe you. I do. He spread his hands. But this isn't the way. Public confrontation will only make you look bitter, vengeful. It'll damage your witness in the churches. What about justice? Vengeance is the Lord's, Bob. We talked about this. Your job is to forgive. Something in me cracked. You want me to forgive her for destroying my life? For weaponizing my daughter against me? For planning to lock me in a facility while she stole everything? I want you to trust God's timing. His voice was maddeningly calm. Bob, if you do this, I'll have to ask you to leave during the service, in front of everyone. The threat hung there. So you'll protect her? I said quietly. Even knowing what she did, I'm protecting the church. The body of Christ is bigger than one man's grievance. I stood up. Then I guess we're done here. Bob, please, let's pray about... I walked out, didn't look back. In the hallway, Alice was pretending to organize bulletins. She'd been listening. Of course she had. Bless your heart, she said as I passed. Pride's just eating you alive, isn't it? I kept walking. Sunday, I didn't go to church. First time in 40 years. Stayed home instead, sitting at my kitchen table, staring at the divorce papers. Sarah was out meeting with Tom and Hank, working on the plan, but I couldn't shake Pastor Jim's words. What if I was wrong? What if this was just pride? What if standing up in church made me look like the villain? My phone buzzed. Text from Linda. I know you're planning something. Don't embarrass yourself publicly. Just sign the papers. I'll give you the house. You can keep some dignity. I stared at that message. The house. Some dignity, a quiet exit. It would be easier. God knows it would be easier. I could sign. Move to Montana with Mike. Start over somewhere. Nobody knew my shame. My hand hovered over the reply button. Then I heard it. A truck door slamming outside. Heavy boots on my porch. Pounding on the door. I opened it. Hank stood there. Snow on his shoulders, fury in his eyes. Don't you dare, he said. Don't what? I saw your truck at the church yesterday. Tom told me about the lawyer's voicemail. And I can see it on your face right now. You're thinking about quitting. Hank, no. He pushed past me into the house. I didn't watch Mary die just to let you give up on yourself. He pulled out his phone, dialed a number, put it on speaker. Mr. Miller? A man's voice, older, shaky. Gerald, it's me. I've got Bob Hutchins here. Tell him what you told me this morning. A pause. Then, Mr. Hutchins? I don't know you, but Hank says you're fighting back against Marcus Chen. I'm trying, I said. Don't try. Do it. The voice strengthened. I settled, took the money and shut up. Know what it cost me? My kids think I'm a fool. My grandkids won't visit. I wake up every morning wishing I'd fought. Wishing I'd made him pay publicly for what he did. Mr. Hofstadter, you've got something I didn't have. You've got people helping you. You've got your daughter back. You've got evidence. Don't waste it. He paused. Make him pay. For me. For David Kemp. For every man he's destroyed. Hank ended the call, looked at me. You hear that? You've got a chance to do what they couldn't. Don't roll over now. I sat down, put my head in my hands. Everyone's against me. My lawyer, my pastor. Half the town thinks I'm crazy. Fuck the town. Fuck the lawyer. Fuck the pastor. Hank never cursed. The words hit like hammers. You've got me. You've got Tom. And you've got Sarah. As if on cue, Sarah's rental car pulled into the driveway. She came in carrying her laptop and a bag from the copy shop. Certified documents, she announced. Tom came through. Every forged signature, every wire transfer, all official. She saw our faces. What's wrong? Your dad's having doubts, Hank said. Sarah set down her things, walked over, knelt in front of me, so I had to look at her. Dad, listen to me. When I was in 4th grade, there was a kid named Tyler. He stole my lunch money every day for 2 weeks. Remember what you told me? I remembered. Stand up to bullies in front of everyone. They hate witnesses. Exactly. You said hiding just makes them stronger. You said sometimes you have to make noise. Her eyes were wet. You taught me that. Now I'm teaching it back to you. She stood, pulled something from her bag, the forms Linda had sent her, medical power of attorney papers, assessment requests. She was going to use me to lock you away, to erase you completely. Sarah's voice shook. If you quit now, she wins, Marcus wins, and every other predator like him learns they can keep getting away with it. I looked at those forms, at my daughter's face, at Hank standing there like an old soldier ready for one more fight. Then at the divorce papers on the table, Linda's offer, the easy way out. Christmas Eve, I said. We're really doing this? Unless you tell me not to, Sarah said. I thought about Gerald Hofstadter, about David Kemp, about every morning for the rest of my life, wondering if I could have fought back. No, I said. We're doing it, all the way. Hank grinned. That's my neighbor. Sarah hugged me. 3 days, Dad. We've got 3 days to get ready. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Mr. Hutchins, this is Detective Morrison. Marcus Chen just filed a restraining order against you. Claims you've been harassing him. There's a hearing Monday morning. The walls were closing in, but I looked at Sarah and Hank, at the evidence spread across my table. I'll be there, I said. After I hung up, Sarah was already typing on her laptop. Restraining order, she muttered. He's scared. Good, let him be scared. Monday's hearing lasted 20 minutes. Marcus's lawyer presented the parking lot encounter, claimed I'd been menacing and unstable. Detective Morrison testified that I'd filed a legitimate police report and shown no signs of aggression. The judge denied the restraining order but warned both of us to keep our distance. Marcus smirked at me on the way out of the courthouse. I didn't react, just walked past him to where Sarah was waiting in the truck. We've got 2 days, she said as I climbed in. Tom called. He wants everyone at your house tonight. Said he's got something big. They showed up at 7, Tom with his briefcase full of documents, Hank with his shoebox of evidence, Sarah with her laptop already open. We gathered at my kitchen table, the same table where this had all started, and laid out everything we had. Tom went first. IRS contact came through. Marcus's firm has been flagged for structuring violations. Multiple accounts, multiple victims. They've got enough to arrest him, but they need one more piece. He looked at me. They need a victim willing to press charges publicly. On record, no settlement. I'll do it, I said. It'll mean testifying, grand jury, possibly a trial, your finances exposed. Everything public. Good, let it all be public. Tom nodded, pulled out a stack of certified documents. These are the official bank records. Every forged signature authenticated by a handwriting expert. Every wire transfer documented, court ready. Hank added his evidence. Hofstadter and Kemp both signed affidavits. They'll appear via video call if we need them Sunday. Character witnesses. Sarah turned her laptop around. I've compiled every email between Mom and Marcus. 37 total, time-stamped, downloaded before she could delete them. She clicked through screens. Plus, I traced the offshore accounts. Marcus has a shell company in the Caymans. That's where the money's been going. Tom whistled low. That's federal, big time. There's more, Sarah said. She pulled up a calendar. Marcus has done this in 4 other cities over the past 10 years. Different names, different companies, same pattern. I found court records under his previous business names. How many victims total? I asked. At least 12 that I can confirm. Probably more who never reported it. She met my eyes. Dad, you're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for all of them. The weight of that settled over the table. Okay, Tom said. Sunday plan. Bob, you stand during announcement time. Read your statement, facts only, no emotion. We hand out copies of the key documents to the front rows. Let people see the evidence themselves. I've already called the state police, Hank added. They'll have 2 troopers stationed outside the church. Soon as Bob's done speaking, they move in. Arrest warrants ready. Just waiting on the judge's signature Friday. What if Pastor Jim stops him? Sarah asked. He already threatened to kick Dad out if he tries this. Tom was quiet for a moment. Then, The church is a public gathering. First Amendment applies. Pastor Jim can ask Bob to leave, but he can't stop him from speaking first. And if he tries to physically remove him, that's assault. Jim won't do that, I said. He's a good man. Just misguided about this. Then he'll let you speak, Hank said. And once you start, once people hear the truth, there's no stopping it. Sarah pulled up a document. I wrote out a statement for you, Dad, based on the evidence, 5 minutes long. I timed it. Just the facts. Names, dates, amounts, nothing emotional. She slid the printout to me. I read through it. Clean, simple, devastating. This is good, I said. Practice it, she insisted. Tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, until you can say it without shaking. We worked until midnight, rehearsing, coordinating timing, planning for every contingency. What if Linda interrupts? What if Marcus leaves early? What if people don't believe it? By the time Tom and Hank left, we had answers for everything. Sarah made coffee. We sat at the table in silence. The documents spread between us. You scared? She asked. Terrified. Good. Means you're taking it seriously. She sipped her coffee. I'll be there, front row. If you look at me, I'll nod. Just remember, you're not alone up there. Wednesday, we went through it again. Thursday, Sarah drove to Columbus, picked up the certified copies from Tom's contact, came back with 3 boxes of evidence, all labeled and indexed. Thursday night, Linda texted me. I know what you're planning Sunday. Don't do this, please. Please. I didn't respond. Friday morning, the arrest warrant was signed. Tom called to confirm. We're go. Troopers will be in position by 9:30 a.m. Friday night, I couldn't sleep. Kept running through the statement. 5 minutes, 300 seconds. The most important words I'd ever speak. Saturday, I tried to eat. Couldn't. Sarah made eggs anyway. Watched me push them around the plate. You're going to do great, she said. What if I freeze? What if I can't get the words out? She reached across the table, took my hand. Then I'll stand up and finish it for you, but you won't freeze. I know you won't. Christmas Eve morning, I woke at 5, showered, shaved, put on my Navy dress uniform, still fit after all these years. Sarah had insisted, let them see who you really are, she'd said. She was already awake, dressed, reviewing the documents one last time. Hank knocked at 7, came in with his own pressed suit, smelling like Old Spice and determination. Ready? He asked. I looked at Sarah, at Hank, at the evidence boxes stacked by the door. Yeah, I said. Let's go to church. First Methodist was already half full when we arrived at 9:30. Christmas decorations everywhere. Poinsettias by the altar, wreaths on the windows, a pine tree strung with white lights, the smell of candle wax and old hymnals. Familiar, safe. We split up like we'd planned. Sarah sat middle pew, left side. Hank took the back row, right. I found a seat in the rear, folder on my lap, trying to keep my breathing steady. People filed in. Families in their Christmas best, kids squirming in stiff clothes, the organ playing O Come All Ye Faithful, and everything normal. Everything the way it had been for 40 years, except nothing was normal anymore. At 9:45, the side door opened. Linda walked in. She was wearing a red maternity dress, her belly visible now, and beside her, hand on her lower back, Marcus, navy suit, confident smile. They walked down the center aisle like they owned the place, heads turned. Whispers rippled through the pews. They sat in the third row, my pew, where I'd sat every Sunday for 4 decades. Alice Morrison, 2 rows behind them, whispering to her neighbor, both staring at me. The service began. Pastor Jim, at the pulpit, welcoming everyone. Opening hymn, scripture reading from Luke, then his sermon. In this season of joy, he said, his voice warm and practiced, we remember that Christ came to reconcile us, to each other and to God. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's strength. It's surrender to divine love. I gripped the folder tighter. Sometimes, Pastor Jim continued, we must let go of grievances even when we feel justified. Pride keeps us imprisoned, but grace sets us free. Every word felt aimed at me. 25 minutes in, he opened the floor for announcements. My heart was hammering so hard I thought people could hear it. I stood. The sanctuary went silent. 250 people turning to look. Pastor Jim's expression flickered, surprise, then concern. Yes, Bob? I walked down the center aisle. My legs felt like water, but I kept moving. Reached the front, turned to face everyone. Through the crowd, I found Sarah. She nodded once, steady. Pastor, congregation, I said. My voice was shaking. I have something to say. It'll take a few minutes. Pastor Jim hesitated. Bob, perhaps after the service? No, sir. It needs to be now. It needs to be witnessed. The silence was absolute. I opened my folder, pulled out the statement Sarah had written. My name is Robert Hutchins. I've been a member of this church for 40 years. Many of you know me. I took a breath. 6 months ago, my wife began an affair with Marcus Chen, the man sitting in my pew right now. Gasps. Murmurs. Linda's face went white. That's not the announcement, I continued. Adultery happens. People fall out of love. I could forgive that. I held up the bank statements. What I can't forgive is theft. Systematic, calculated theft. $47,000 from our retirement accounts. Forged power of attorney. Refinancing our home without my knowledge. Emptying my daughter's college fund. I started passing documents to the front row. These are certified bank records. You can verify every word. Alice took them, her mouth open, started reading. Marcus Chen is a financial advisor, I said. This is his business model. In 2019, he did this to Gerald Hofstadter in Columbus. Settled for $30,000. In 2021, David Kemp in Toledo. Settled for $85,000. Marcus stood suddenly. This is slander. I'll sue you for... Sue me with what? I pulled out the IRS letter. Your firm's under federal investigation. Elder fraud unit. The congregation erupted in whispers. Linda stood too, her voice shrill. He's senile. He doesn't know what he's saying. Sarah rose from the middle pew. I'm his daughter. I verified every document. It's true. All of it. Including the $30,000 you stole from my college fund, Mom. The gasps were louder now. Marcus grabbed Linda's arm. We're leaving. He started pulling her toward the side exit. Tom, I said quietly. Now. Tom Reeves, sitting with his family in the fourth row, stood, signaled. The side door opened. 2 state troopers stepped inside. Marcus Chen, the first one said. Marcus froze. You're under arrest for elder fraud, forgery, and wire fraud. You have the right to remain silent? The handcuffs clicked shut. The sound echoed in the silent church. Marcus was yelling something about lawyers, about harassment, but the troopers were already walking him out. Through the center aisle. Past every witness. Linda stood alone, her face crumpled. She turned to me, reaching out. Bob, please, it wasn't supposed to... I didn't mean for... I looked at her hand. Didn't take it. 40 years, Linda, I said. You threw it away for nothing. I stepped past her, walked toward the back exit. Bob, she called after me. Bob, wait. I didn't turn around. Sarah and Hank followed me out into the snow. 3 months later, the snow had melted. March came in with cold rain and the first hints of green on the trees. I was making coffee when Sarah came downstairs, already dressed for work. She'd been living in the guest room since Christmas, working remotely, saying she'd find her own place soon. But neither of us seemed to be in a hurry about it. Morning, she said, pulling eggs from the fridge. Morning. We'd developed a routine. I made the coffee, she cooked breakfast. We ate together before she disappeared into her room for video calls, and I headed to wherever I was needed that day. The screen door opened. Hank walked in without knocking, his habit now. Brought the paper, he said, dropping it on the table. Marcus made the front page again. I glanced at the headline. Chen pleads guilty to federal fraud charges. Trial date set for May 17th. Think he'll actually serve time? Sarah asked, cracking eggs into a pan. Federal case, multiple victims, offshore accounts. Hank settled into his chair. He's going away for a while. My phone buzzed. Text from Tom. Funds transferred back to your account. All $47K plus penalties. House refinance canceled. You're clear. I showed it to Sarah. She smiled, but didn't say anything. We'd learned not to celebrate too loudly. The money was back, but the marriage was still over. Linda had moved to her sister's place in Columbus. The baby was due in 2 weeks. Legally, not my problem anymore. Sarah set plates in front of us. Scrambled eggs and rye toast. Simple. Real. You teaching at the senior center today? Hank asked. 2 o'clock. Financial literacy workshop. Sarah looked up. How many signed up this time? 15. Had to move to a bigger room. After Christmas Eve, word had spread. The senior center director had asked if I'd be willing to teach other older folks how to spot predators, how to protect themselves. At first I'd said no, didn't want to relive it every week. But then Gerald Hofstadter had called me, said watching someone finally fight back had given him hope, asked if I'd talk to his senior living group about warning signs. I'd said yes to that. Then another group asked, then another. Now it was a regular thing. Every Saturday afternoon, I stood in front of a classroom and told my story. Showed them the red flags, taught them how to verify power of attorney documents, how to spot structuring, how to protect their accounts. 2 weeks ago, a woman named Martha had approached me after class. Said her nephew had been pressuring her to sign over her house for estate planning. Because of what I'd taught her, she'd asked the right questions. Discovered he was lying about tax implications, planning to sell it out from under her. You saved my home, she'd said, crying. Thank you. That's when I'd realized The worst thing that ever happened to me had become the most useful thing I knew. At 1:45, I packed up my materials and drove to the community center. The classroom was already filling up. 12 seniors, mostly women, a few men, all of them there because they'd heard what happened to me and wanted to protect themselves. I started the same way I always did. My name is Bob Hutchins. 6 months ago, I lost $47,000 to a financial predator. I'm going to teach you how to make sure it doesn't happen to you. After class, 2 women stayed to talk. Both had stories about close calls, about family members who'd tried to manipulate them. I listened, gave advice, watched them leave, looking stronger than when they'd arrived. Drove home as the sun was setting. Sarah's car was in the driveway. Hank was on his porch, pipe smoke drifting across the yards. Inside, Sarah was cooking dinner. The kitchen smelled like garlic and onions. "How'd it go?" she asked. "Good. Really good, actually. We ate together, talked about her work, about Hank's doctor appointment, about nothing important. Normal conversation, normal life. After dinner, I went upstairs, stood in my bedroom doorway, looking at the nightstand. I opened the drawer. The wedding ring was still there, tucked next to old photos and Sarah's baby shoe. Hadn't touched it since I'd put it there in December. I picked it up, held it to the lamplight. Linda and Bob, June 12, 1983, still engraved inside, 40 years in a circle of gold. I looked at it for a long time, then set it back in the drawer, not thrown away, not forgotten, just set aside. Closed the drawer gently. Downstairs, I could hear Sarah laughing at something on TV. Hank's voice responding. He'd come over for our Friday night poker game. I walked downstairs to join them. Sarah looked up when I entered. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, and meant it. "I'm okay." 2 weeks later, mid-April, spring finally arrived for real. Sarah and I were on the porch, hanging Christmas lights. Ridiculous, I know, putting up lights in April. But Sarah had found them in a box in the basement. The same strand I'd been wrapping that night Linda told me about the baby. "We should test them before next December," she'd said. "Make sure they still work." And so there we were, stringing lights in the spring sunshine, both of us knowing it wasn't really about the lights. It was about standing on this porch together, about her being home, about doing something that looked forward instead of back. Hank watched from his porch, pipe in hand, shaking his head. "Y'all are crazy," he called over. "It's April." "Early prep," I called back. Sarah laughed. Her laugh sounded like my mother's. I'd never noticed that before. A good memory, a clean one. The church gossip had died down. Pastor Jim and I weren't speaking, but that was all right. Some bridges burned for good reasons. Tom had been suspended for 2 weeks, then reinstated when the bank realized he'd prevented them from being accessories to fraud. His job was safe. Linda had given birth last week. A boy, healthy. Sarah knew through the grapevine. I felt nothing specific about it, just a distant acknowledgement that somewhere a child existed. Marcus's son, not mine. The first drops of rain started falling. Spring shower, warm and clean. "We should get inside," Sarah said. But neither of us moved, just stood there letting the rain fall, washing away winter's last traces. "Dad?" Sarah said quietly. "Yeah?" "I'm thinking about staying, permanently, maybe buy a place nearby." I looked at her, my daughter. Home after 3 years of silence. "I'd like that," I said. The rain came harder. We ran for the porch, laughing, Hank shaking his head at us, kitchen light warm through the window. My hands, wedding ring gone, tan line almost faded, held the strand of lights. Sarah reached for the same strand to help untangle it. Behind us, the rain washed the gutters clean. Hank's pipe smoke rose into spring air. The percolator was waiting inside, already filling the house with the smell of coffee. I smiled, not forgetting, but forgiving myself for being human, for believing in promises that someone else broke, for learning, finally, that silence isn't surrender, it's just knowing when to gather your strength, and that some wars are won, not with noise, but with patience, with witnesses, with truth. We went inside. Sarah poured coffee. Hank dealt cards for poker, and life, ordinary and sacred, continued.